here we go. And we're live here on Facebook. Like to welcome those listening in podcast land, and also my buddy Rich. Rich, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Mike. A little tired from a long week of work, but 2 more days to get 2 more work days to go, and then my partner in crime comes back from vacation, so we'll be back to being fully staffed.
Nice.
Yeah, Mike, how was your week?
It's been busy. It's grind time for work. Doing IT at a school. 2 weeks before school are the last minute preps to get everybody ready to go, get new hires and all that stuff taken care of. So it's it takes a lot, but you know we can do it. So we got one more week, and then students start coming back, and then a week and a half, and students start coming back. And once they're back, that's when things start to slow down. And then personally, my September is quite busy already. I might be going out of town a few times, and we'll talk about that later, perhaps. But
Gotcha. Probably an offline talk.
yeah. But Rich, with all of that, we have lots to talk about today. We have a really jam-packed show, so let's not labor the point. We are talking the Cubs and how on fire they have been. We are also talking about NASCAR. What else we got this week, Rich?
Well, Mike, we got to do 2 divisions this week in our division to wrap up our division previews, as we'll be looking at the Southern divisions and the Northern division and the North division minus the Chicago Bears. And if there's time, I've got an idea for college football realignment to talk through.
Okay.
But only if there's time. But Mike, all that more, but what do we got to do first?
We gotta roll that intro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. Okay, Rich, with all that going down, we do have a poll question to talk about. This week's poll question was...
We will rock you against Seven Nation Army.
Yeah.
Mike, in this one, I voted for Seven Nation Army. I love the way that the crowd can get involved with the song during the guitar drift of so on. Because
the crowd...
That's where I went with it.
The crowd can't go stomp, stomp, clap. Stomp, stomp,
they
clap.
Can.
Stomp, stomp,
They can't. But by all means, they can. I don't know. I went for the newer one instead of the classic stadium rock anthem. So.
I mean, they were doing it in the Dark Ages, in the Dark Ages. Yeah, didn't you see A Knight's Tale?
Yeah, I did see A Knight's Tale.
They were doing it back then in medieval times, and yet you're not gonna recognize the oldest rock anthem known to stadiums everywhere.
Yeah, but I don't know. If anything, on this one, I went with the song itself that I like better, and I like Seven Nation Army.
Yeah, I like Queen. I went with the band.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
And with me were Jordan Stroop, Sue Hart, Matt Johnson, my wife, Danielle Hart, and Mikey O'Roderer. 6 votes for We Will Rock You. And Rich, 2 votes. You and your brother for Josh Hendricks, by the way. Those were the only 2 votes for Seven Nation Army. Moving on will be We Will Rock You. With that, what is this week's poll week?
Yeah, this week's poll question will be Welcome to the Jungle, going up against Don't Stop Believin'.
Okay.
I'll try and get that live either tonight or maybe tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So, Mike, tell the folks where they can find those poll questions.
Rich, if you want to participate in those poll questions, jump on to facebook.com/fans of balls and sticks. If you don't have a Facebook page, sorry, we don't have a place for you to vote. I mean, I could put a poll question and add it to the thing, but then I got to add those votes to that vote. Not going to do it. Ain't gonna do that. Wouldn't be prudent. Wouldn't be prudent. Ain't gonna do that.
Wow, some classic Dana Carvey there. Nice. All right, Mike. So we mentioned in our kind of rundown before we ran the intro that the Cubs are on fire. Still.
Aren't they though?
They are. They're playing great baseball right now.
Yep.
All right, Mike. So they had 2 games against the Braves, 3 against the Mets, and that's where we gave our show-to-show prediction. Because we weren't sure what time we would be recording this episode, so we did not include tonight's Jays game. So there was 5 games, Mike. I said they would win 3. You stuck with 4, even after dropping the Jays game.
Yep. That was a mistake.
They went 3-2 this week, Mike, as they swept the Braves from show to show, but they dropped 2 of 3 to the Mets.
If we would have included the Jays game, though, I would have been correct.
Yes, and I think I was giving them that win against the Jays. I said 4, but when we took the Jays game away, I downgraded down to 3. So in a way, we were both correct.
Speaking of the Jays, did you see the hot news to come out of the Blue Jays?
I did not. What news came out of the Jays?
Let me check it to make sure.
Okay. So while you're pulling that up, Mike, we're not going to do a full standings check. We'll at least do a standings check as it affects our team, the Chicago Cubs.
Did you hear that?
2 games. They are 2 games in back of the Brewers at the time of recording, and currently they are tied for the final wild card spot with the Cincinnati Reds.
Did you hear who was officially on the Blue Jays today?
No, I did not.
Jose Bautista!
Oh, yes, that's right. He signed a 1-day contract so he could retire a Toronto Blue Jay.
Right, that was...
I did remember seeing that in the news from this week.
Yeah. Jose Bautista signed with the Braves today. So he was officially a Blue Jay. Wow. He was officially a Blue Jay today, which means the Cubs beat Jose Bautista today. Right? That's how that works.
Sure.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah,
right,
we'll look at stuff next week. The standings, like you said. Rich, did you give what games they have next week?
Not yet. I was given where the Cubs are in the standings.
Yeah.
A full standings check will be done during our Labor Day weekend show.
Yeah.
But they're 2 games in back, 2 games behind the Brewers for the division. They're currently tied for second place in the division with the Cincinnati Reds. And in the wild card, they are tied for the final wild card with the Cincinnati Reds. So if the season ended today, there would be a tiebreaker game between them and the Reds to determine who's going to go into the playoffs to face the highest winning, to face what would be the Milwaukee Brewers, since they have the lowest record of the division winners.
By the way, and I'm just going to put this out here, you know who hopes and is glad that this season isn't ending today?
Who's that?
Anybody in the National League, because the Cubs are on such fire. What's the biggest thing we say is the key to the playoffs isn't being the best team in the playoffs. It's being the hottest team during the playoffs. You can be one of the worst teams to get into the playoffs, but once you get in there, it's the hot teams that make the playoffs interesting, and it's the hot teams that do stuff that cause the playoffs to get thrown upside down. And that's why if the Cubs keep on this tear, they are going to be considered the scariest team in the playoffs for everybody. I'm
following your train of thought there. I mean, who thought that the Phillies, they were one of, I think last year maybe they were the second or the third wild card, and they ran it all the way to the World Series.
But
I
it's
mean,
it's not
what
even
what
that.
took the Astros the 6 games
Yeah,
before losing?
but but again, I'm not even saying that. It's not and the Phillies were hot going into it, but the Cubs are like they got a Midas touch right now. It's crazy how good this team is right now. And how well they're playing. I don't see how anybody wants to play them in the playoffs. Everybody else is hoping they cool off. But we'll talk more about that next week as we get into our full standings check. This week, Rich, they have 2 against the Jays, 2 against the Sox, White Sox, that is, at home. And they have 1 against the Royals with cheese.
Yes. So Mike, I'm gonna go 4 wins. I
Yeah.
like who's gonna be taking the bump in Toronto this weekend with Jameson Taillon, who's really turned the corner from July, turning in good, finally being the pitcher that we signed him, that we thought we were getting in the off season. And the White Sox tore everything down.
Yep.
So, and the Royals have probably the second worst team in the league. So we're getting
Right behind
into,
the White Sox.
yeah, and the Oakland A's. So,
Yeah.
so we're hitting a good stretch of the schedule to where if we can pile up some W's, that can really benefit us in the standings.
I'm actually going to, Rich, I'm going to change it.
Okay.
I didn't think about, I'm going with 5. We're going to sweep the week. Let's do it.
Sweep the week. Okay.
Yeah. I think they can do
All
it.
right. So, like I said, we're going to do the standings. We're going to look at our standings, check in over Labor Day weekend. Besides the Jose Bautista story, Mike, is there anything else in the world of baseball that you'd want to talk about?
How about the fact that the White Sox need to teach their players how to take a hit?
Okay, how so?
Did you not see the fight last week?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and did anybody figure out what it was about? Because I only caught the highlight.
I don't recall either. One funny meme that I saw about it is that that they had picked the picture of Tim Anderson failing to land a hit on Jose Ramirez, and the Nolan Ryan hit on Robin Ventura. The meme was the White Sox plan on hiring Mike Tyson as their new hitting coach.
I would hope so. So
Since they can't land a punch.
if you didn't hear last week in the game between the Sox and
The Guardians.
the Guardians, Tim Anderson, right? Tim Anderson and Ramirez.
Yeah, Tim Anderson. Yes.
Ramirez slid in, got the base, stood up, and took exception to something. Not exactly sure what it was. Started jawing at each other, and Anderson took a swing, missed, and I tell you what, Ramirez showed him who's boss, knocked him out. There were 3 punches thrown. Anderson missed, Ramirez hit, Anderson hit the floor. If you watched as he went back, he was stumbling to get back. He had been ejected, obviously. So had Ramirez. It was terrible, but the Anderson just straight cold cocked and was out. So.
Yeah, but did you hear the other classless thing that the White Sox did?
No.
Okay, so
I expect
when
nothing less.
yeah, one of their the middle reliever that they traded to the Yankees, I think
Yep.
his name was Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton said some negative comments towards the White Sox, saying that they were a classless organization with a bad culture. in the clubhouse, and as soon as he got notified he was traded to the Yankees, he said, "All right, shaved." He shaved, and it's right. I'm glad I'm out of there because of the bad culture around the club and in the clubhouse. He takes the mound against the White Sox in the Yankees lineup. They do not acknowledge that he's in the game on the scoreboard for the entire time that he's on the mound
Yeah,
because of the negative comments that he directed at the team
they can. Yeah, that's
after being
terrible.
traded.
And then we did have a no-hitter pitch this week.
We did. Michael Lorenzen pitched
Yeah.
a no-hitter in his first home start for the Philadelphia Phillies.
And his mom and wife and daughter all got to see it. I mean, I don't know. I think it was a daughter. It was a baby of some sort. The baby will never remember it. But man, do the Phillies have to bring his mom and wife for every home start that he gets to be at, so that hopefully he does well?
Why not?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Like, man, yeah. Yeah, that was worth the price of it. That would have been worth the price of admission. That's exciting. So, okay. With that, let's move on. Rich, do you see what's coming up next?
I do, Mike. Is it a left turn?
It is, and after that?
Mike, I think this week we got some right turns in there.
That's right, because we're heading into the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on 5th Avenue in Moline or on their eBay store. Once again, that is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Okay. Last week, we were at the Firekeepers Casino 400 at Michigan. Rich, tell the people who won and how our guys did.
All right, Mike. Your race winner was Chris Buescher, winning back-to-back races for RFK Racing. Mike, your pick of William Byron ran into the wall and came in 35th.
Yep.
My pick of Kevin Harvick came in 8th.
Yeah.
So that increases my lead to 16 to 12. Mike, the best you can do in the regular season is a tie,
Yeah.
but you're going to have to win. Your driver of your choice is going to have to win the next 3 races to tie the score going into the playoffs.
No. My guy, if my guy win the races all 3, I can
you're right.
beat
If
you.
all 3, you do win. Yeah.
If I have to win at least 2 to tie. So there will not be a tie in the regular season.
Okay. You're right. I was told my math is horrible off the top of my head.
No, I will
You
definitely
are correct.
win.
You are correct,
Yep.
sir.
So, Rich, did you get to watch the race at all?
Yeah, I did. I watched a little bit of the race
Before or after the rain delay?
because it was before the rain delay.
Okay.
We switched as soon as the rain delay started. We switched over to the Cubs game that afternoon, and while I was working on Monday, I had it. I was listening to the radio feed of the race.
Yeah, I put it on. I think it's a 65, it might be a 75-inch TV, like 4 feet from my desk, directly in front of me. And so I legitimately just put it on, and it was playing, and I didn't even catch, like, I legitimately was not watching it at all. It's been a busy week. That's how busy the week was. So,
Gotcha.
okay, Rich.
All right, Mike. So as we mentioned, there's some right turns this week as we are on a road course. We will be at the Brickyard for the Verizon 200, but it will be on the Indianapolis Speedway's road course layout.
I don't. I love the Rovals, but there are certain tracks I don't think you need the Roval at. Indy's one of them.
Yeah, and I could have swore I've read something leading to the last couple. I've seen stuff over the past couple weeks saying that they're doing like some sort of tire test on the oval at the Indy. So there's talk of maybe they will be going back to the oval next year, because if I could have swore they were saying that they might be able to do that because the IndyCar weekend, the Indy race, when they run that on the road course layout of the Indianapolis Speedway, is going to be on a different date.
Yeah.
So they won't necessarily have. So they'll have the option to run the traditional oval
Yeah.
maybe next year. And I think I'd rather see that as well.
Yep.
Um,
So, Rich,
as well.
with it being the road course, any advice for people in the fantasy?
Yeah, for fantasy, lean into your road course. Not road course ringers, but maybe guys that do perform well on the road courses. So there's some, and it's a good track for guys that are looking to get into the playoffs. Your Michael McDowell, Chase Elliott,
Yeah.
Austin Cindric, three guys below the cut line that are usually pretty good on the road courses.
Could you
And
imagine if
AJ
Chase
Allmendinger.
Elliott doesn't make the playoffs?
Yeah, it could happen. He's not going to be able to get in on points with 3 races left.
Well, I mean,
And
the biggest problem is that he had to take so much time off this year.
Yeah, because he wanted to go snowboarding, and then he got suspended for a race.
Yeah.
But he's still playoff eligible because they wanted to grant him an exception because everybody loves Chase Elliott.
He's one of the top 5 fan favorites.
Yeah.
It's because of his daddy. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. But okay.
And he is a good racer this year. It's just this year, I've kind of had the opposite. You know what? I don't know if he deserves to be in it.
Yeah.
Because he decided to go snowboarding in between race week.
Rich.
In between race weeks.
Who you picking for the week?
All right, I'm going to go with the guy that needs a win and has been running pretty good on the regular layouts. And I'm going to go with the Dinger, AJ Allmendinger. In this race, he won the inaugural race on the Indy Road Course, and last year he came in 7th. So he's never finished outside of the top 10 on the Indy Road Course in the Cup Series. So I'm going to go with the Dinger.
You know, I like that idea. I like going with a road course ringer. In fact, I'm going to go with the ultimate road course ringer, as I am going with SVG, Shane Van Ginberg.
All right, you're going to go with the Kiwi. I like the pick, Mike.
I love the Kiwis, and I love that. Like, if you watched his car control, this guy's gonna when he is done with his what do they call their stock car racing over there?
Supercars?
Yeah. When he's done with his supercar contract, he has said, and I believe 100%, he will come to America, and you watch out. He's gonna dominate.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing, Mike. Saw something this week saying that he might be able to get out of his supercar commitment and be able to go Cup next season. And Justin Marks at Trackhouse wants to find a way to keep him. Keep him in Trackhouse. But obviously, there's going to be seats open at Trackhouse, and there could be a seat open at Legacy Motorsports, as Noah Gregerson got suspended indefinitely for what NASCAR. And
no, it 100%. No. Let's not say NASCAR. I fully endorse NASCAR suspending him. I fully endorse his team suspending him. I fully endorse that I don't believe in cancel culture, but he needs to take a good hard look at his personal if what he liked, if he feels that that's not inappropriate in general, he needs to take a good hard look at himself and get out of his own way. He liked a meme that had
it was George Floyd.
Basically from the Little making a joke that said "under the knee," as if it's a song from a Disney movie. It's terrible.
Yeah, all I was able to read about it was that it was a meme that involved George Floyd, and he liked it, but they were trying to spin it off as inappropriate social media.
It is inappropriate.
Usage. Yeah.
It's taking a murder that was taped and making a joke about it, because I don't know why you would make a joke about it. It's ridiculous. I've stood on this show and defended the rights of both sides of any argument. I cannot find a defense for this meme. I can't find a defense for wanting to like it, to share it, to anything. The people that made it are sick and twisted, and I'm sorry. I like sick and twisted things. This one doesn't make sense to me. And I won't stand for it. And this is not what NASCAR needs. And if this is what he wants to like and enjoy, I don't want him in NASCAR. And I'm okay saying that. I think everybody has the right to freedom of speech, but that doesn't exclude you from the consequences of it. And if you're going to be the face of a team, if you're going to be the face of a team sponsors, if you're going to be a high level member of a sports organization such as NASCAR, they have the right to decide that they don't want to associate with people like that, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so his NASCAR suspension was indefinitely, but it came out this week that Gregerson asked to be released from his contract so that he can concentrate on taking the next steps that he needs to take to be reinstated by NASCAR. So Mike Rockenfeller, I think it's a German Mike Rockenfeller, who worked with Jimmy Johnson on the Garage 56 project out in Le Mans, will be stepping into the number 42 car for the next two races. No word on who's going to be piloting the car from Daytona going forward into the playoffs. But Mike, not knowing what exactly the meme was, all I knew is it involved George Floyd, not exactly the full extent of it. I was maybe on the lines of doing the quotations of inappropriate social media content, but hearing more about it, I can fully agree with you that whether it was an accidental like and then whoops, didn't mean to do that, take it off, it still happened. So yeah, I can fully agree with NASCAR that probably it was the right move to have him step back and have to accept the consequences that come with that action.
Yeah, good riddance. Okay, Rich, take us out.
All right, Mike. So that was the NASCAR Corner presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. You can find them in Moline, Illinois, over on 5th Avenue, and you can also find them on eBay. Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. All right, Mike. So coming off of the racetrack and going to the gridiron, Mike, we got two divisions to look at, so we can stay on schedule to get in our full NFL coverage that we usually do before action kicks off on September 7th.
Yep.
So, Mike, we're going to be looking at the Southern divisions and the Northern divisions. And, Mike, let's start with the North, and we're going to go with the AFC.
Okay, let's do it. We'll start with the Ravens. And as we start with the Ravens, and their new contract.
So with the Ravens, with Lamar Jackson having a new contract, finally getting paid.
Yep.
Can he be more committed to the team? For me, not knowing the full extent of his injuries and everything last year, it seemed like as they were playing down the stretch, there was a lot of will he play, won't he play going into the stretch and even the playoff game. And Lamar chose to stay away from the team and rehab his injury and get fully healed when the Ravens could have used him to maybe go further in the playoffs.
I'm gonna sound like a broken record. I wouldn't have given him a big contract. I wouldn't have given him that contract. Lamar Jackson has not proven to me that he's deserved. What's he won, Rich?
he won an MVP award.
Okay,
but
okay.
he
What's
hasn't
he
really
won?
won much in the.
What's he done for us in the?
Taking the Ravens to the playoffs.
If we're gonna talk like we are the Ravens. What has Lamar Jackson done for us lately? Has he gotten us deep in the playoff? He's gotten us to the playoffs. Oh, okay. More than half the teams make the playoffs. Okay. Or is it right at half now? I don't remember. But either way, half the teams roughly make the playoffs. Okay. How many wins in
one of?
How many wins has he had in the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't think he's gotten them to the AFC Championship game. And he hasn't been able to stay healthy an entire year. I don't think he's played a full season since his MVP year. I mean, some of that could be contributed to their former offensive and their play calling with Greg Roman running a very run-heavy offense, which included a lot of designed quarterback runs. And it could be a different type of offense that we see in Baltimore as they've brought in Todd Monken from the University of Georgia to be their new offensive coordinator. So you could still see Lamar Jackson running the football, but maybe not as many designed runs to maybe make him a prototypical quarterback instead of being the guy fully using his relying so much on his natural athletic ability and running ability with his legs.
So Rich, he's played 5 seasons. We're going into his 6th. That's why he had to get the contract. Otherwise, it doesn't count for anything. How many times has he made the playoffs? I have it in front of me.
Say 3.
You are correct, sir. He's been in the playoffs 3 times. How many games has he won in the playoffs?
I'm going to say 2.
Rich, you are incorrect.
How many?
1.
1. Gotcha. That was probably the MVP year.
That was 2020.
Yeah. My memory serves me correctly. I believe that was his MVP
No,
year.
2019 was his MVP year.
Oh, 19 was the MVP. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what you're telling me is a guy who doesn't lead my team in the playoffs, I gotta pay? A guy that can't stay healthy, I gotta pay? He didn't play a single game for him, or he didn't. No, I'm sorry. Let's play it. He played 12 games for him last year. How many games did he play in 2021? 12.
13. That was 12 again. Okay.
15 for 2020. 15 for 2019. Now, it was 2021 when they extended, right?
I believe so. But yeah, I mean,
But he hasn't. He's played one season where he's played 16 games. His rookie year.
Was that a full season? Was that a full season his rookie year? Because didn't he take over for Joe Flacco at some point during the rookie year?
He played 16 games.
Okay.
He played 16 games in 2018. That's when they had 16 games. Now they're up to 17, and he hasn't played a full season since.
Yeah. So hopefully the change in offensive philosophies or offensive game plans going from Roman to Monken can help him stay healthy. But, well, man, it's a question you got to ask yourself. Did he... So you don't think he deserved the big contract that he got?
I think he deserved a decent contract. I don't think he deserved as big as he got. I don't think he deserves... He still has to prove that he can A, stay healthy, and B, lead my team in the playoffs. We're talking playoffs. Like, what does it matter if you fail? in the playoffs? What good was you go 17-0 and you lose in the first round of the playoffs? What good does that do you?
Exactly. You're not known as the team that had an undefeated record. You're known as a team that was undefeated but lost in the playoffs.
And you're
Not
going to
too
be
many people remember that the Giants beat the Patriots in that Super Bowl. I don't remember what year that the Pats went undefeated. No, it was that the undefeated Patriots lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah. You can't. Playoffs are what matter. Why do we think Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time? Why do some people say that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time?
Because of the rings.
Because of the rings. Why do I argue Joe Montana is the greatest quarterback of all time?
Because of the rings.
Because of the rings. Why do we look at people? Why do we say that Aaron Rodgers is the most wasted talent in the NFL we've ever seen?
Because he only has one ring.
What are we seeing with Lamar Jackson?
He can't win the big games.
He can't win a playoff game, let alone a Super Bowl. Lamar, prove me wrong. This is your year to prove me wrong, and I'll buy in. Okay, let's move on.
Mike, so
anything else you want to say about Lamar Jackson?
With the Steelers, not really. So continuing on with the North, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only thing that I could think of for my least favorite team in the NFL was, could they be the best last place division team in all of football? They're getting Kenny Pickett on a rookie deal, his second year in the league.
Oh man, it's
TJ
rough.
Watt on a good defense, but Mike Tomlin always manages to at least finish above 500 somehow.
Yeah, Tomlin is good, but man, I don't buy this team this year. And to say they're the best last place team, that's probably going to be the most accurate way to say it. But I think they're going to be worse. They're going to be a worse team than most. Actually, I'm going to say no. I think Tomlin will coach them up, which I suppose should give some credence to that they're the best. But they have, honestly, I think I'm gonna argue, in the Tom Brady era, the greatest quarterback we've seen, Mike Tomlin. I think he's better than Bill Belichick. I think he's better than Bill Parcells. The man has taken terrible teams and gotten to 500. And I would say 90% of that is coaching. Could you imagine if Mike Tomlin had half the team that Bill Belichick had all those years? Your argument is valid. They are probably going to be the best worst team, or the best last place team.
Best last place division team.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think I think that's 100% their coaching, and there's something to be said for that. But he needs to be able to get a little bit more talent in there, and that's what they need. Rich, any other thoughts on that? Do you want to rebuttal my argument against Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells?
I think Mike Tomlin doesn't always get the credit that he deserves, because his teams never got to the playoffs. I think Bill Belichick, Belichick obviously has the playoff victories.
Yeah.
But, Parcells, I think Parcells gets a lot of attention as a great coach because of his big ego, and he's just been in big markets.
Yep. I can go with that.
Between New England, New York, Dallas, and then being a broadcaster or a commentator as well. Gets a lot of attention. A lot of attention because of where he has coached, not for just having 2 Super Bowls.
Okay. I
as
can go
well.
with that.
But yeah, Mike Tomlin I think is an underrated coach as well. So, all right, for the Cleveland Browns, they went in with a lot of hope with signing Deshaun Watson over
I'm
the
not okay with
offseason. He
him.
comes, well, okay,
I hope the Browns get flushed. They
okay.
legitimately are banking their season on this serial rapist. Man, I'm calling it like it is tonight. Being
All
harsh.
right. Yeah.
I can't. How do you support a team that wants this guy on their team? I said it when the market was open. I said I don't want Deshaun Watson in Chicago. I don't care how good of a talent he is. He might be the best young quarterback in the league next to Patrick Mahomes. I think he has that kind of talent. But his conduct is so unbecoming of a person, let alone a quarterback. No, the Browns are going to get to the playoffs. Deshaun Watson's going to get them there. And I hope everybody boos the entire time they are in the playoffs. If I were in Cleveland, I'd wear a bag on my head because I'm ashamed my team signed the man, not because the old tradition.
Yeah, I didn't get the contract either. The contract and all the draft picks to get him was
Nope.
outrageous, and especially with that being a fully guaranteed contract.
Nope.
But I don't know. I guess the bad as the Browns have been, and as bad as their quarterbacks have been for so many years, I guess they felt that was the best option that they could take to get the best guy under center that they've probably ever had since they've come back to the league as an expansion team. However, because of the division that they're in, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. It's going to be tough
Yeah.
having to play the Bengals, the Steelers, the Ravens. That whole division is going to beat up on each other. I haven't looked at their
The
entire
Steelers
schedule
don't
to
have the
see.
talent. The Steelers don't have the talent.
It's a division rival, though. Those two
Yeah.
teams hate each other. It can go either way, just like a Bears-Packers.
Yeah.
Just like a Bears-Packers game. It
So
can go either way.
So you bring
So
up the last team on the division already. Let's head into the
Yeah.
Bengals. Man, how much bankroll do they have?
I think something's got to give with that team. I think they're gonna. I think they'll give. I'd like to think that they will open up the checkbook and take care of Joe Burrow, and probably Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
But I don't think their other two wide receivers, which are good receivers, and T.
Yeah.
Higgins and Tyler Boyd, are going to be able to get the type of lucrative contract that they deserve.
Yeah.
And they deserve. So I think they're going to be jeopardized because they gotta pay Chase and Burrow first. I mean, Joe Mixon, the running back, he took a pay cut to stay on the team.
Yeah. That's gonna be. Yeah,
It's going to be, and the Bengals ownership is not known to want to spend money.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're gonna do. They're gonna be in a hurting place, and they're gonna lose a bunch of these guys. I really hope that they end up keeping Joe Burrow, but I don't know how they can.
No, I think they'll keep Burrow. They'll find a way to keep Burrow. I could see him going the Tom Brady route of maybe taking lesser deals when compared to his peers in the quarterback market, if it means that they can get talent around him.
Okay.
Or that they can keep the talent that's already in-house that he's used to playing with. But another thing that there's some injury issues with Burrow now too.
Yeah, that
right now too.
Yeah, I was gonna go into the fact that it doesn't matter. Ownership's got to be willing to sign them checks, and are they? And especially with the injury issues that are arising with him, are they really going to be willing to spend that money?
I think they will.
Oh man,
I think they will.
And And Joe Cool is Joe Cool, and is he gonna like being in Cincinnati? It's gonna be hard for him to get endorsement deals, like great endorsement deals. I'm nervous for him, so we'll see.
But he's an Ohio native boy.
That's true.
He's playing for a team that's home. He's playing it in home. So that's
Okay.
why I think that it'll be a lot like Brady and be willing to take lesser deals to to keep the team good and to keep talent around him.
Okay.
I think it's going to come that's going to come it's going to affect their defense more than their offense, because obviously if you want to keep him, Chase, and Higgins, you're going to hope that you can hit on running backs to keep running backs on rookie deals rotating through the backfield, and you got to hit on defense in the draft so you can have young, controllable players
Yeah.
elsewhere on the roster.
Yep. Okay.
But it can work.
So let's keep in the. Do you want to stay in the north? Or do you want to do the south real quick and then hit the north, because we might have a lot to say about the NFC North.
Okay, let's go with the South, 'cause
Okay.
there really isn't as much to talk about the South. So I kind of lumped three teams together.
Yeah.
That's the Panthers, the Texans, and the Colts. All three teams are probably expected to get their rookie QBs on the field at some point during the season. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson. Which one do you think is going to have the better rookie season?
I want to say C.J. Stroud, but man, and the hard part is don't overreact. Like, I'm trying not to overreact to last night's game.
Okay.
I think he is the best of these three, but I have no clue. Like,
Yeah.
I think we need to see a lot more. I didn't watch enough. I didn't watch any of their college tape.
Mhm.
I need to sit down and, as the season goes on, as they play, I think it's the NFL tells you quick who's good and who's not. You don't get a grace period at all. It's not like in the college ranks when you get to play Craptastic University. Like, no, there are not bad teams there. You're going to be playing a good teams throughout there. It doesn't matter. So,
All right, for me, I think I'm going to go with Anthony Richardson. There's a lot of
Okay.
unknown. There's a lot of good raw athletic talent with him, and they got Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator, that kind of unlocked Jalen Hurts, calling the plays, designing the offense. So I kind of want to see what he has in mind for Richardson throughout the entire year.
okay.
Plus, I really don't want to see Bryce Young do well, because if he's not doing well, that means the Panthers aren't doing well, which means the Bears get a better draft pick out of their trade.
Yeah. No, I'm totally
All
good
right,
with
Mike. So the other two teams in the AFC South to kind of look at are the Jaguars and the Titans. And I think, do the Titans keep progressing to where their playoff window is starting to open wider and wider, while you got the Titans, who've owned that division for so many years, is the window starting to close
that. So,
on them?
couple of things that we saw last year, and I agree with you on both of those accounts, because the Jaguars play the Panthers, Colts, and Texans twice a year. That helps them a bit, and the fact that they play Tennessee. And what did we notice last year about Tennessee, Rich? The league's starting to catch on.
Yeah.
They're figuring out how to stop them. And yeah, there's times where they make it real tough to stop them.
Derrick Henry they can keep handing that guy the ball, and even if your defense is lined up to stop the run, he just goes. He gets his chunks of yardage.
But it's not the miles on the car. It's how hard those miles were. Derrick Henry has some tough miles on those legs. And that body has been beaten terribly. I don't see Tennessee being able to continue this way.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you, Mike. I think it's going to be their last year to really contend. They're running
At
it back
best.
with Ryan Tannehill.
At best.
They brought in DeAndre Hopkins because they noticed that letting go of AJ Brown and drafting Trevon Burks didn't necessarily solve the problem other than getting a cheaper contract. But I think that the division that they play in helps. But I think their only way into the playoffs is winning the division. And I think the Jaguars, with that young talent and having Doug Peterson at the helm for the second off season, I think the Jaguars keep progressing up, and we're going to see the Jaguars that came back from 26-0 against the Bolts continue to make progress, and I think they win that division.
I think the Jaguars are making the right moves. I think look out for them, and soon we'll see our first Arab American. Is he Arab American or just straight Arab winner in? Isn't their owner? Who's the owner?
Yeah. I think they're Sheikh Khan. I think he does have some Arab descent.
He's gonna win. He's gonna be the first owner of Arab descent to win an NFL Super Bowl. I'll predict it.
Okay, maybe not this year, but I think they could be in contention.
No, but
for a Super Bowl.
they're starting to move in the right direction. They're making the moves.
All right. Speaking of a team that's obviously their window is closed, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh.
They really didn't have a backup plan for when Tom
no.
Brady decided to finally hang it up, and they invested a lot of money in that team to make it competitive while they had Brady. Is this team playing for the number one pick?
Playing for it, probably. Gonna get it? No. And that also brings up, is my bigger question, how long before Bruce Arians leaves to go back to coaching?
I don't think I think he's okay. I think he's done coaching.
You think so? I mean, I think the guy.
I think so.
I think the guy deserves some time to, he's an old man, and he's faced cancer himself, along with covering for what's his face in the Colts, wasn't it? Wasn't he the one that?
Yeah. He replaced Chuck Pagano because of how well he did as the Colts interim coach. That's what got him
the Arizona job.
The Cardinals job, the Arizona job.
But if you watch that 30 for 30 or that
Hard Knocks,
the Hard Knocks knockoff, the one on Amazon, I don't watch Hard Knocks. I don't have a way to watch it.
All or Nothing.
All or Nothing.
The All or Nothing.
Yeah. He seems addicted to that coaching. He loves coaching. I mean, don't get me wrong. He loves spending some time on the boat and being away from the world. But, man, I don't know. It seems like something that's going to be hard for him to give up. So, okay. Rich, man, speaking of teams that need to do something, the Saints, is it a rebuild or a reload? I think it's a rebuild, Rich.
I think they should be rebuilding, but they keep reloading.
They try to.
They keep on signing and restructuring contracts. Like, they've still got Drew Brees under center, and they want to have a competitive team because they don't want to waste it. They don't want to waste an opportunity because they got Drew Brees under center.
It's the Blank family, right? Arthur Blank.
No, Arthur Blank is the Falcons. It's the Benson family that owns the Saints.
Oh, that's right. It's the Benson family.
It's almost like the Saints want to keep winning because they play in such a weak division.
Yeah, but
eventually you got to stop restructuring the contracts and signing veterans.
I think this year's not going to work for them, and I think this is the year that they are fully forced to move on and to rebuild. I think that's what this year's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they would have had the 9th pick in the draft if they hadn't done a draft day trade with 2 years ago with the Eagles so they could draft Chris Olave. Chris Olave is a pretty good wide receiver, But was it worth giving up the ninth pick when you could have gotten a really good player to on a good cost controlled contract
Yeah.
rookie deal? No,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
think it
think so.
was.
Um,
So so the last team to look at in this division, the Falcons, who you brought up, owned by Arthur Blank,
yep.
they're rolling the dice with Ritter,
Yeah.
with putting him in as the quarterback
Why
with
not?
Arthur Smith.
I mean, what do the Falcons have to lose this year?
I don't think they have much to lose. They've invested a lot in their defense.
And I'm gonna make another argument.
All right.
Is it just me, or is this division the fight to who's forced to represent this division?
I think whoever wins this division, I think that they could have. I think they will have the worst division of all the division champions,
Right.
no matter who it is.
They'll
I
be
think
the
it's going to, for
opposite of the
me,
Raven. Are you saying they're going to be the opposite of the Steelers? The worst best division or the worst first place division winner?
you know what, Mike? Here's my thing. I think the Steelers, who will finish last in their division, will have a better record than the team that represents the NFC South
Yeah, I don't
in the
see how that's
playoffs.
not. I think you're probably right on that. And with that, let's leave. Let's let that be the last statement we make about the South, because honestly, they don't deserve it. Let's move to the NFC North, as this is our division. How
Yeah.
how bad are the Packers going to be without Aaron Rodgers and relying on Jordan Love?
Yeah, I I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. Could you finally see the Packers playing the full style of wanting to establish the run and being a run first team now that they don't have Aaron Rodgers wanting to blow it off the coaches' play calling and calling audibles so he can pass the ball?
How about, is this the first time in 3 decades now
Hmm.
that the Green Bay Packers don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback under center?
Yeah. Mike, since you have more computer screens than me, can you look up when was the last time they had a losing record? Because they've had Brett Favre and they had a really smooth transition to Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers missed a significant amount of time that they actually had a losing record.
Let me get down here. Okay. Well, last year
Because,
they
I
had a
mean,
losing record.
yes,
In 2018
finished
they had,
below five.
2018 they were below 500. 2017 they were below 500.
Huh?
2013
I would have.
they were below 500. 2008 they were below 500. They were
Okay.
500 in 2006. In 2005 they only won 4 games in 2005.
Okay. I thought it was a little further than that. I was not expecting that their last
By the way,
losing season was
I
17.
just gave you, since now here is where the stat gets crazy.
Hmm.
Since 1993, so that's going back 3 decades. We've already talked about all of the below 500 records that the Green Bay Packers have had. That's it.
Okay.
In 3 decades, they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In 30 years. Now that is crazy.
It really is. I think
24
you're gonna see them
years
having a lose.
above
So, Mike, do you
500.
see them finishing above 500 in their first year post Aaron Rodgers?
No. Especially
Do they
because
manage?
the other 2 teams we have to talk about here. The other two teams we have to talk about here really make a huge difference in that. And yeah.
Okay, so I know we're going to talk the Bears next week, but who finishes with a better record, the Packers or the Bears? Or is that a question for next week?
The Bears.
The Bears finish with a better record?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally think so. So. Yeah,
All right.
by the
so
way,
you want to go Lions or okay, go ahead.
In my wife's lifetime, we have talked about all of the losing records of the Green Bay Packers. That's it. 6 in her lifetime. That's nuts. So, that's it. That's all I had for that one.
All right, Mike. So let's go with Detroit. They've been rebuilding for quite a long time. They almost made the playoffs last year.
Yep.
So is this team ready to take the next step to where you're starting to ask yourself, man, are they for real? Or is it going to be one more year to get underneath the coaching staff of Dan Campbell to finally turn the corner and take that final step of making it back to the playoffs?
You had me saying yes. I think this is the year that we realize that they are a real team. But, and this is the big but of this.
Yeah.
This is when the Vikings are still there, and the Vikings, like, I don't think that the Lions. You brought up the Dan Campbell thing, and what do I always say about how long does it take for a head coach to establish his team? Takes about
3 years.
2 to 3 years.
He's on year 3.
Is he gonna? I thought this was year 2.
I thought it was 3 because he's had Goff for 2 of those years. But for me, the thing that's going to kind of negatively affect the Lions is that if they do well again, especially well on offense, they're probably going to lose their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, in the process.
Yeah.
Because he was interviewing for a lot of head coaching vacancies this year, but chose to stick it out in Detroit and chose to stay in Detroit. And I think that could cause them to take a step back as they kind of had to refocus and choose an identity for an offense if they lose Ben Johnson. But there's a lot of but you got to think that this has got to be in a lot of Lions fans' lifetime. This has got to be the best team that they probably had on paper to really cheer for going into a season.
This is year 3. You are correct. I stand corrected. Sure, you might have me on the Dan Campbell bandwagon. I have been for a while. Let's go for it. Let's do it. Go Dan Campbell.
Yeah. And on the Vikings, though, I'm sure a bunch of the your friends up there in Esterville. For me, I think the Vikings have peaked.
I think they can. I think this. Here's the thing. I think there's blood in the water in the North, and I think the Vikings are ready to put more blood in the water. They're ready to mow this division down. I think this is their peak year. I don't think they've peaked. I think they are peaking. And watch out for them to do something this year. I got heavy predictions for them.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. For me, I think they've peaked. They've got a quarterback. They've got a quarterback that can't win games when he's playing in prime time, let alone the playoffs. They chose to re-sign Alexander Madison as their running back, but he can't stay healthy any more than Dalvin Cook could stay healthy.
Yep.
And I don't know. The defense is always kind of hit or miss on whether they're allowing a lot of points. whether they're allowing a lot of points or whether they're holding holding people back. So I think with a tougher division this year, um, I think they're going to win. I think they have a good chance of winning the division, but can Kirk Cousins show up in a primetime game to take them further into the playoffs?
I think he can.
And
I think he can.
I don't think he can.
And,
I don't.
And that's where you and I differ this year. Okay, Rich, anything else on the North, either North or either South, that you want to talk about this week?
Not really. So, Mike, next week we're going to look at the Chicago Bears. So we're going to take a look at the season over and under, and we're going to go week to week, seeing whether they're going to win the game or lose the game. Now, of course, just like we did last year, we are always subject to change that once the regular season begins. But we got to go through the schedule from week 1 to week number 18 to at least establish what the number of games that we thought that they would win before the season started.
Yep. And we will keep ourselves accountable to this. We're not just gonna willy-nilly it. You're right. It doesn't mean that when we go week to week and we're seeing that the Bears are so hot that they can't be stopped, that we can't just keep going with it. There's nothing that says we can't. But if they do that, we might change our votes, or we might keep them. Who knows? Okay, Rich, real quick, if people, I'm gonna make it this week. We're gonna say this week, just for purposes of our time. If you want to be involved in fantasy football, and you want to do it as a part of as a league solely because of Balls and Sticks, we need to know. Send a message to the Balls and Sticks Facebook page, or put a comment on the YouTube channel that you would like to. And if you put one of those comments or on the podcast stuff, if you put a comment on one of those places, and I get it, and I get enough of them, we'll reach back out and get emails so that we can get that going. Otherwise, after this week, we're going to punt on that, and we'll just not worry about it. But that does not mean we're not going to do one other thing.
Yeah. So, Mike, as the I'll let you be the league commissioner. As a league commissioner, how many total teams are you wanting to get so we can figure out?
I think there has to be a minimum of 8.
Okay.
If
so
there's not 8, I don't think it's worth it.
So 8 listeners. So you'd like a 10-team league because
yes.
We're playing it. So you'd like to do a 10-team league, but at a minimum,
if we have to, if bare minimum, we need 6 listeners.
Okay.
I want a 10-man league. 8, you're gonna have to convince me next week that it's worth it.
Okay.
So.
I just want to get that out there.
Yep.
So that if people are interested in doing fantasy football as a Balls and Sticks podcast league, we do need. We'd like 8, but we'll settle for 6 listeners, 6 followers of the show.
And I'm willing to settle if Rich can talk me into it next week.
Okay.
So
get him out there. But, all right. So one thing that we do have up and running, and we'd love you to participate in with us, is our annual NFL Pick'em Challenge. See if you can beat us from week to week. We have one person that has joined that league, Fields of Dreams, which you said was Nick Rice.
No, that's Mike Sable. Mike Sable.
Okay. I thought it was one of them. So yeah, you can find the group name, the group number, and the password in the show descriptions, as well as on our Facebook page. So Mike, I have no idea where we're at on time, but I think we're gonna have to put a college football realignment, kind of talk about that, and put that the next week.
Okay.
Okay with that.
We do have 2 show shout-outs. We have to give a shout-out to Haley Malia? Haley, I'm sorry. That's my niece. I don't know how to say your last name, Haley. I'm sorry. But it's my niece, Haley. She hearted the show, and then Solomon's Troop liked the show. So if you are listening and want to get a shout-out like one of those 2, If you're on Facebook when we're live and you react or comment on the show, if we catch it in time, we will give you a shout out on the show. Those two get a shout out this week. We also will give you shout outs if you join the fantasy, the NFL Pick'em. So we want people in that too. Rich, people are watching us on Facebook, but they want to take us on the 5-hour car ride to get from the Quad Cities up to see my esports team. Speaking of which, I do need to do one. I have a couple other real shout outs, but do you like my shirt, Rich?
I do like your
okay.
shirt.
I'm going to ask you. You have to approve it. It's technically a fundraiser. We are going to be selling these shirts as a fundraiser for our esports team, so we can buy computers and do a couple other big name things. Also, just snacks for the guys if they need them. But we're hoping to do that this year so that we can get a little bit more money and do some fun stuff. So if you're okay with it, we'll actually put a link of when I have the link for it. For the online store, we'll put it on there so you guys can purchase and become a pioneer esports fan.
Yeah, I like the shirt. I can't do white though. I'm just
no. The new ones
white.
The new ones are going to be colored. The new ones are we're going to have other. We're probably going to do a black one, a maroon one. And I don't know what the other colors we're going to do.
I think a steel gray would look good.
Ooh,
steel gray.
Yeah. Let's maybe I'll workshop that. Thank you. Okay, Rich, tell people where to find us if they want to listen to us in the car.
You can find us anywhere where you download your podcasts. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google, Apple, just to name a few. Mike, if they're listening to us in podcast land and want to see the recordings, what 2 options do they have to watch the video feed?
You can watch us. You can watch us on YouTube at youtube.com/ballsandsticks. Look for Rich and I playing baseball in tuxedos, or find us on Facebook at 2 places. We put it up on 2 places live. You can either watch it from the fan page or on the Balls and Sticks page by itself. With that, Rich, I have to shout out Krista Perry, had her birthday this week, along with I'm shouting out my wife one more time because we have the platform, and it's my wife's birthday was Monday. Any birthday shout outs or other personal shout outs you got?
I do not have any shout outs.
Tell me what it's time to do.
All right, Mike, so why don't you go ahead and roll the outro?
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.